I've been gigging since I was like maybe 13 years old,
Wow.
or 12, 13. And up until coming to here, I did it every weekend.
Wow.
Every weekend I'd do gigs. We would play like, depending on which group I was, we would play at a restaurant on like Thursdays, Fridays, and then Saturdays, Sundays we would play at people's parties, weddings, backyards, like.
Wow.
And I just from there, like, I just kept going with it, and it's been awesome. I asked her, it's like I was like, Mom, like why did I sing that good, or like what, I mean, I was like in like high school at the time. I was like, and then she was like, no, it's because your dad dedicated this song to me.
Oh.
And I was like, I had no idea. Like, what are the odds that that we chose that we played that song. I went to like this festival, pro weekend festival in Castellón this past week, and one of these guys, like, he told me, he was like, it's not always about being the best. And he was like, like it matters how like genuine you are, and like the impression you make on people.
Welcome to the Music Business 101 podcast. I'm your host, Luis Guinea, a seasoned musician, songwriter, and producer. With over 13 years in the industry and as the founder of Moctezuma Music Group, I'm here to take you behind the scenes of the music world. Our podcast connects you with industry professionals, exploring their experiences, insights, and success stories. Our goal? To demystify the music industry's diverse universe, from genre and trends to invaluable information. Whether you're an artist, a pro, or music enthusiast, join us to unlock the magic behind the melodies. Welcome to the Music Business 101 podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Music Business 101 podcast. I'm really happy to be here with a new guest. Now we're having Saul Eduardo, also from Berkeley, and he is, where are you from, Saul?
I was born in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
My family's from Mexico.
All right, so more Mexican talent here, Mexican and American, I would say. Welcome, and
thank you for having me. Yeah,
thank you for coming and for giving me some of your time to talk about your projects, about your musical journey. I'm really thrilled about how this podcast is getting a lot of talented people and very diverse from different backgrounds, different countries, different professions, and I'm just very happy to have this opportunity to connect and to make friends and talk about why are we here, what are we doing, what do we want to do. So thanks again, Saul, and well, let's start.
Well, thank you for having me. It's cool seeing all the weekly every person you have, so it looks like it's a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, and I think a lot of things will come out of this experience. I think it's gonna be good to have this recorded. Like the whole purpose of this project is to have this like I don't know. This is being recorded and it's going to be there available forever for everyone to just. I know many people haven't had the opportunity to listen to the episodes because we're very busy with school and everything. But sometime maybe later, after the masters or the undergraduate programs we're studying now, maybe years later, we might just get in like the episodes and find something and then say like, oh, this guy was in my school and I didn't know about his projects or whatever. So it's like kind of also like a professional database where we can find people and know more about themselves. So to start from, I would like to talk with you about where you come from. Tell me more about your background, this mix of like Mexican and US background you have in your family or in your life. You were born in Texas?
I was born in Texas. My mom went to the US like when she was 8 months pregnant with me, so I was like a month away from being born in San Luis. So,
okay, San Luis Potosí.
San Luis Potosí, el mero centro.
Your mother is from San Luis then?
Well, she's actually from Guanajuato.
Okay.
But she was studying in school. She had already went to school and graduated in San Luis, And so she moved to the United States, and I was born there, and it was a new country for her. She wasn't there long when I was born.
Wow, I cannot imagine like how was it for her to be in a new country and having a child almost born, and like if now that okay, this is a parenthesis, but before living here in Valencia, have you had an abroad experience before?
No, I mean I had visited Mexico. I would go every summer. I've been a lot, but I had never left the country. Like I'd never been overseas. Or lived overseas. Like much less lived.
And how has this experience been for you? Like living in a new country, knowing new people. Have you seen any special cultural differences yet? So far?
I mean I love it. It's just the fact that like in the US, like you're always in a car, you're always driving places, and here it's like you walk or you take the train, and you're like you feel like you're more of like a part of the community almost, you know.
Yeah, you have more contact with people outside. I can feel like also like you feel more secure, right?
Yeah.
So now that you're living this, have you thought about how was maybe for your mother like this going to a new country and also like being a mother, like both two different experiences new for her?
I didn't think about that until you just mentioned that. I was like, wow, like I mean, like for me it was hard, you know, like being away from everyone I love, you know.
I know,
so, and so I can't imagine like being alone and then having to raise a child, you know, and it's like, I mean, she was away from her home, and then she started a new life while raising a new life, you know? So that must have been difficult. I mean, it's like, it's one thing to leave to study and school than to like have to leave and then care for like, you know, something so small. But I mean, I feel like that was the case for a lot of like Mexican Americans, like, you know, like a lot of, como dicen los pochos, you know, Chicanos or Tejanos, you know, like a lot of us have that same story that, you know, our family is, you know, from Mexico, and we were born in the States. And it kind of creates like a cultural, like a identity crisis almost, you know, like to some Mexicanos, like we're just like, we're more American, you know, because we weren't born in Mexico, like we weren't like, we didn't grow up in, you know, the I guess the culture, you know, and then but then to Americans it's like, you know, we're not Americans, so it's like
I imagine it can be hard. I don't know if you knew about the case of these artists that came to Mexico from I don't know if Boston or New York, but they are like kind of very famous now. And I don't remember the name of the artists. They are like three brothers that were born in the US, but they come from Mexican parents. And they visit Mexico City, and they were in an interview, and they asked them like what were they thinking of the food, and they were saying that they didn't like the Mexican food.
They were like puros chicken nuggets or something.
These guys. I really don't remember it was a.
I can't remember the name.
No, I cannot remember it.
But I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
But it's not their fault, you know. Like they say, I don't like how chicken tastes here. I prefer Mexican food, but in the US. So well, it's like many people are talking bad about them. Yeah. But
and they're kids. They're like they're young. They're really young.
Yeah. So they're just saying what they think, and they're being honest about. Yeah, it's not this. Maybe they know that this food they're tasting like originally is from Mexico, but it's like, for example, here I love sushi, but I'm realizing that I love Mexican sushi because I'm tasting sushi here is different. Yeah. So maybe for them but it's like you said, it's a cultural shock maybe, and I just think people has to be more empathic about. Yeah. Don't be so judgmental. Yeah. Because it can be hard it can be very easy to be born in one place and be there like all your life, and you feel you are from that place. But also when you are not, like if you are born in another country and your roots are from other, and you feel this, like, where do I belong?
Exactly, yeah.
It can be hard, I think.
Yeah. And like coming to Valencia, like when I speak Spanish to people, you know, españoles, like they automatically say, they're like, "Eres mexicano," you know, like I was like, "Oh, cool," like, you know, I feel proud, you know, to say that I'm from Mexico, you know, of course. Or at least like Mexican origins, you know. So it's like they just hear my accent, it's like, oh wow, like I didn't realize that, like they recognize it, you know, like that.
I got that experience too when I came here, and it's amazing how they realize very fast, and they have a very good reaction about like Mexicans, like, it's Mexico, yes.
Yeah, it's never Mexico. Like, oh, you're Mexican. Yeah. You know, it's the opposite.
The opposite.
Like, they celebrate it.
Yeah. Sometimes in restaurants they don't even say anything, but they start playing music that I recognize, like okay, it's funny because they only play Maná or like
Cristian Nodal.
So it's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
These are not the only artists we have from Mexico, but thank you for just like,
you appreciate like the gesture.
Exactly. Yeah. So how did you actually came into music? Like being in Texas, or what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was in elementary school, and like the school didn't have any kind of like band or orchestra or anything. I remember I was in 4th grade when they were starting a program, and like they announced on the intercom, they're like, we're starting an orchestra program, whoever wants to join, like feel free to try it, and if you like it you can stay, and if not then you can, you know. Okay. Because when you're in elementary school in the US, like it might be the same in Mexico, but you have to take some kind of like elective something that's, you know, like we had to take gym or music or something, you know. And so like a friend of mine was like, you're like, if you do it, I'll do it, you know, like, you know, like we didn't know really I don't think we even knew what orchestra was. They just said, they made it sound like appealing. So, and then I learned in elementary school, and I was there in it for 1 semester. I started playing the violin. Okay. And it was cool because now looking back, like having, you know, like gone to school for like undergrad and stuff, like it was kind of cool, like looking back and learning his like teaching methods, you know, like we didn't even pick up the violin for like the first couple of weeks. Like he taught us like rhythms and like notes without us really knowing. And but yeah, so I learned violin. Like I started playing really, like, I guess classical music first. Okay. And when I got to middle school is when they had a mariachi program. Oh wow. Yeah, so like it was pretty cool. Like I got there as like an orchestra musician, or you know. Yeah. And then my middle school teacher, who actually now is my madrina. Oh really? Yeah. So that says enough about our like relationship, you know. And so she, like, I mean, it was cool to be in orchestra and everything, but everyone wanted to be in mariachi. Like even people who weren't like, you know, Mexican American. And so that's when I started doing like mariachi music. Nice. Like to then I played violin and I sang. Like I grew up singing in like church choir. Like wow. I would sing in English and in Spanish too, like in church. And then that's when like I started combining like singing and playing. Which is very common, right? Like being in a mariachi ensemble, we could call it like that. Normally, like they all know how to sing, right? Yeah. So like, for the people that don't know, I think by this moment, I think mariachi music is known in all over the world, probably. So people that might listen to this episode, they probably know what we're talking about. Yeah. But in case, if there's anyone out there that doesn't know or is not very familiar with the concept of a mariachi ensemble, can you explain a bit about that? What is a mariachi ensemble? Yeah, so like a mariachi consists of armonía, which is like the rhythm section, and melodías, which is like the melodic players. Okay. So the bass would be the guitarrón, which is considered like the bass. It's like it's literally called like, it translates to big guitar. Okay. You know, it's like this big instrument. It has like a round back. It's bass played in octaves.
This is a funny question, but is it kind of a requisite to be a fat guy to play the guitar?
A lot of people
because everyone every player of guitar is like big, big proportions. Like I don't know.
I guess people always associate that. But but I don't know
necessarily, right? I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the stereotype.
Exactly. Yes. But okay. We have the guitarron.
And then we have the vihuela, which is like I think it originally comes from Spain, but it's like a Mexican instrument. Those two are like the Mexican instruments.
I love the vihuela. The sound of the vihuela
has a really like bright, like full of life sound.
Yeah. Once I tried to record a song in like a mariachi style, and I didn't know exactly like the instruments I had to include, because I never really thought about it. I mean, I grew up in Mexico and I know the mariachi, but when you now try to produce or compose, we are going to definitely talk about this later. It's very different. You don't really are aware of all the things. So I recorded and I used an acoustic guitar, and I didn't have a guitarron, but I tried to like record from the bass strings of the acoustic guitar, like the bass, and just with some EQ and some plugins try to give more bass to the instrument. But I knew that there was something missing. I was like, why is this not sounding like that? And then later on I figured out it was because the vihuelas are the ones that actually give this so bright sound to the music.
Because like when you go to like some like in las chambas and gigs, like not every group will have a guitar. Sometimes it'll just be like in the group that I played with. Shout out to my friends. They like it's just guitarron and vihuela. Wow. And sometimes they'll have like a guitar player and stuff, but it's almost like it's not a mariachi without those two instruments.
It's amazing.
Like you can have guitarron, vihuela, and then maybe have like a violin, and it's still a mariachi. But if you have like, say you have a mariachi but you don't have a guitarron, it doesn't sound the same. Or if you have just guitar and guitarron, like you just have like you have a lot of low ends, but you still miss like the brightness of the vihuela. You know?
It's a very complete ensemble, and I'm very curious. Do you know how it started, like the origins of this?
I'm not a historian, and I have some friends that are like really good historians.
Okay.
But I know like once it would just be the harp would actually play both parts. The harp was the guitarron, which was like I think the bass is up down here. The bass would be like the guitarron, and then you would have the highs be like the vihuela. So that's kind of where that influence like branched out, and then you had like the guitarron just playing bass.
Nice.
And then you would have the vihuela like kind of playing the highs. And so you would have like, there's some older recordings where it's like harp and you have like a singer, then maybe you have a guitar too, and then the original ensemble was like harp, singers, and then you had guitarron, vihuela, and violins, right? Because they're like jarocha harp, you know, harpa jarocha, and so that's like they have like the smaller harp that's used in mariachi. And then later on, they brought the trumpets. The trumpets, like historically, like as violins too, they came from Europe. So the mariachi was added in like way after. Like some of the old recordings don't even have trumpets, you know. Yeah, so that's how like it started growing. And even now, like if you go back to like recent decades, they started adding like accordion or even some like schools and like some recordings like Rocío Dúrcal, she has like flute, you know. So it's like it's really interesting and very confusing also sometimes to try to find out the origins of, like, Mexican music is so broad, like there are so many different styles even in regional, like maybe we generally concentrate everything into regional Mexicano, like regional Mexican. But really, there's not like a regional Mexican, because there's a lot of regions and there's a lot of different styles that came from different combinations of cultures. So of course, mostly
everything comes from Europe, but there is also a very big influence on the US, because back then when this genre emerged, probably around, I don't know, 80 years ago or 60 years ago, like in the mid 900s, there was a lot of things happening historically in the country. So, but I heard that this is like, I don't know if this is a real story, but this teacher once said that mariachi, the name comes from the French word mariage, which means like marriage, like because like French people in Mexico, they would get married there, so they hired a small, probably like an orchestra, and there were Mexican musicians that learned to play the American or European instruments, like the violin, like all these instruments that conform the ensembles or the orchestras. And then when the marriage, like the people that was getting married came, everyone was le mariage, and the people start playing. So they related the word mariachi to the music ensemble, and they were like, okay, we are mariachi, like.
I've heard that too, like I've heard that, and it's like I even like within the, like, a lot of mariachi musicians and historians, there's like a debate about where the word came from. I have heard that though, like so maybe
I think that's the more generally accepted story about the name.
I mean, it makes sense to me. Like I said, I'm not a historian.
I also say, like, this disclosure about all the information we're sharing here is merely like own experience. Like, we are not experts on any topics, but we share what we know or what we have experienced, or like this is like only a conversation. Mostly we're saying opinions and things we believe. So it's good to know. But so mariachi is I don't know, it's beautiful. Like I think almost every person in the world, when they start listening to this music, they get happy, like very happy or very nostalgic maybe. How did you like get in, like what happened when you got in this in middle school, in this it was a class, right?
It was a class.
So did you feel kind of in love with it, or it took time for you to like connect with the music, or like did you feel like, okay, I love this, I want to do this?
I think I fell in love with it like really fast. Like especially because, like, I mean, being able to go home and tell my mom, look, Mom, me aprendí esta canción. I learned this song, you know, like, and obviously, like, for her, I mean, it's like, you know, takes her back to her, you know, childhood. And because a lot of the songs that I know are still played at mariachis, not all of them are like new songs. Like, a lot of them are old songs from like Javier Solis, Jose Alfredo, you know? So like a lot of these songs are like she would listen to, or my grandma would listen to when she was young, you know? And so I just fell in love with it. I kept doing it. Eventually, my madrina, my middle school teacher, like she started like a mariachi band outside of school, and we would do like once I got to high school, and we would start doing gigs and like, you know, like I guess getting paid to do gigs and stuff. And I've been gigging since I was like maybe 13 years old, or 12, 13, and up until coming to here, I did it every weekend. Every weekend I'd do gigs. We would play like, depending on which group I was, we would play at a restaurant on like Thursdays, Fridays, and then Saturdays, Sundays we would play at people's parties, weddings, backyards, like. And I just, from there, like, you know, I just kept going with it, and it's been awesome. Like I've gigged back at home, and when I was in my undergrad, like it was like. I was born and raised in Dallas, and then I went to my undergrad was in San Marcos, Texas, which is like closer to Central Texas, like near Austin, kind of like in Central Texas. And I would do gigs there sometimes too. Like I would gig, and it's always been a part of like my life. Like even in my undergrad, like I would have school, and then weekends I was gigging. Or like, I don't know, like for example, like during my undergrad, like that, I think the two busiest days for mariachis like are Dia de las Madres.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course, you know. And then El Día de la Virgen de Guadalupe.
December.
And then both of those dates they would fall on the very, like, the week that they would fall on finals week.
Ooh.
So like fall semester, it would end like, you know, like early December kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like boom, finals, and then you have like chambas like all day. And for those 2 gigs, like it's all day, all night kind of thing.
Yeah. I remember when I was in high school, I also was part of rondalla, which is different, but at the same time is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And on Mother's Day, we would take serenata to all the mothers of the group, and we were like 20 guys, like, so we were like going to every house. Like we ended at 7 in the morning probably. So, but it was fun. It was really fun, and I think that's part of like the culture of being in a mariachi or like a similar ensemble, and it becomes a family, like, also, right? Like, I would like to ask you, how many of the members are, like, the original members are still part of the band, like, or the ensemble today?
Yeah, and that my first band, like, I think the majority of them, maybe all except, I want to say, like, maybe except 3 people, me being one of them.
Okay.
Like, and then a lot of the mariachi bands that do form, like, they keep, like, their core.
Yeah,
like,
and also, how many of them are, like, real, like, families? Like,
oh, yeah, like, okay, so I'm going to give an example to... Okay, in my first mariachi, Mi Madrina, it was husband and wife. Like, one plays trumpet, one plays violin.
Okay.
And then they have, like, now they have 2 of their nephews that are in it now. So it's like, it's a thing that gets passed down.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen that. Like, this thing is very family oriented, like business. Well, more, it's not like, okay, I would not call it a business, but
well, in a way it is.
It is, like, it's their way of living. It's a way of living, a lifestyle, but that is, and it's also what they, like, their income, where their income comes from. Yeah,
a lot of these people, like a lot of mariachis in general, like, they live off of it.
Exactly.
Especially like the bosses, like that's usually their job. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like I'll give another example of the mariachi I was most recently with, Mariachi Allende in Dallas.
All right.
The boss, his grandpa ran the group. I think he, like, I could be wrong, but I want to say he had the group in Mexico, and then when he went to the US, like he brought the group here, and it was passed down to like 2 generations down, and then now it's like the boss, who's like, I don't want to say his age, but he's young, he's grown, he has a family, but he's not old, you know, like he's still a young guy, and he's running this group, and he, like, one of his cousins is in the group, and his tío is in the group. And so, like, you know, it gets passed down. Yeah. It gets passed down.
I like that. It's like a dynasty kind of thing. Like, it might also be like a lot of pressure for anyone having, like, their father or grandfather, or, like, I don't know, if you don't have, like, the interest or the talent or whatever, but you have all this pressure on the family, like, okay, we've been doing this for 60 years now, and you have to continue with that. So.
I also know a lot of people, musicians, even grown-ups, that's how they grew up, because their parents and their grandparents played mariachi, so they were, like, hammering them to, like, learn a song every day, because it's a lot of repertoire.
I know, yeah.
And then it's like the people, like, they want the old stuff, and then they hear a song by Cristian Nodal, and they want to hear that too, you know?
Yeah.
So I've heard of people that, like, they were forced, or they were born into it, like you said, it was passed down. They were born into it, and they had to learn, like, their parents basically forced them to, you know?
Yeah. So it's amazing, because it can be in both sides of the world, like, I know that it's more common to be born in a family with, I could say, like, common professions, like doctors, lawyers, engineers, to put pressure on you to follow this professions and not be a musician, but it can happen also in the other side. Like you can be born in a family of musicians that they want you to be a musician, and maybe you're interested in other things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the both sides of the coin. But I'm really impressed. Really, like I remember this. Now you said that there's a lot of repertoire like to be learning all the time. One friend of mine, he made his birthday party last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like we came to his house. He did this like big event like for probably 20, 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
At I don't know 3 p.m. It was like food and
Yeah.
so the it was not a mariachi, it was a trio.
Mm-hmm.
But which is a trio, but there are 4 people in it.
Oh, okay.
So, but the essence of the ensemble is like trio music, which they share a lot of repertoire with mariachis, like boleros, like all these songs you said about, like from Jose Alfredo Jimenez, from a lot of
you name it, a lot of different
and they started playing at 3. They were supposed to play for 1 hour, maybe 2. But then in the end, we ended up like, well, not we, he ended up paying for like 7 hours.
Oof,
and they were like playing for all those 7 hours. They didn't repeat one song. They were like a live jukebox, like, okay, everyone was always asking for, hey, play Motivos, now Si Nos Dejan, now, like, and it was like all the new repertoire. Like if you ask them to play even like Camilo's songs or like pop artists' music, they would play it adapted to the ensemble, like for trio style.
Yeah.
And mariachis do that all the time too. Like if you ask them, probably play Despacito, they will know Despacito in mariachi. Like they have to. But it's amazing. Like all the memory they have, like all the music they have in their brains by memory, and also adapting the music to their like style.
It's like you're always learning a new song.
Yeah.
It's like it's impossible to know everything,
Yeah.
Even when someone says they know everything, they don't.
No, you don't.
Because like, I mean, even now, like there's a lot of new songs coming out, like the Cristiano Dal, por ejemplo. Now like you go to a gig and people start asking for even like Bad Bunny and stuff. Like some groups, it's like. At the end of the day, like the client is the one paying you, and like sometimes if you don't know a song, then they don't. It cannot be mariachi. It could not be mariachi at all. But if you don't know it, but there's another group that does, like they're gonna take away the work.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to improvise. Maybe like just like, okay, what are the chords of the whatever. And
yeah. Like I know my boss Arturo. He like. Yeah, like he's not scared of anything. It was like if he was like, muchachos, like it kind of goes like this and blah blah blah, 3/4, pum pa 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 pa, and like okay sale, like it's like dos por tres, like they'll try to figure it out because the client doesn't always know like the quality, or if they hear like some kind of chords and they hear the words, they're happy with it. Yeah, but
very interesting. So now that you're studying, how does all this experience has like I don't know, how is this being an influence for you in a professional way? Like now that you're pursuing a graduate,
my major is contemporary performance production concentration.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how has this all influenced in your professional life?
Yeah, I mean, like I've had the pleasure of working with some really talented musicians, and like I've played with a lot of cool people that are really good at their instruments, and they can perform the music, like they know it really well. But I think like in the mariachi world, like it could be bigger than what it is, and it could grow more. And I think a lot of it is because these people are really good instrumentalists, but they for example, some of them don't teach, or they don't know how to like pass it on, and I want to be able to like pass it on, whether it's like with recordings and like teaching the younger generations about mariachi, how it's played, and how you can make it more relevant, and it's cool to be learning the whole production side of everything, because I don't think there are many mariachi musicians that have experience both in the field and like academically, you know. And so it's kind of cool to be here and in a way, like, I don't know, kind of represent like the mariachi or even Mexico, you know. Like, being here, it's like it puts you into perspective. Like, there's so many genres, like there's so many styles, so many kinds of people here. It's like it's cool to be able to learn about the production side and everything, and I mean, hopefully put music out there that people will like, and for both younger generations and like older generations.
There's I think now there is a lot of opportunity to innovate in music in general, but I think that this genre and this style in our styles particularly have a lot of, well, it's already happening. You can hear, like, even now in Mexico, they're mixing like hip hop with mariachi. When Nodal came, they started calling it like, well, a lot of names, but the one that I recall more is bandachi, like this mixture of banda, Sinaloense with mariachi. So they would mix, I don't know, like this whole horns and brass ensembles with the mariachi. So, and I really like that combination. Sometimes they are very what would I say, like
maybe refreshing, or I don't know. Or like I've also heard like mariacheño too.
Mariacheño.
I've heard that one too. Yeah, like it has like the accordion.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like that. I mean, I think it is good to keep and preserve the of course, like the traditional ways of doing things, but it is also good to, as you said, like refresh and then try new things. Do you compose? Do you write? Have you tried like to create your own like?
It's funny because we have this project coming up called Pegasus.
Okay.
And it's like the first collaboration between my program, which is like the performance, and MPTI, which is for non-Berkeley people. It's like the music production technology and innovation. Those are the producers, you know.
Okay, yes.
So this is our first project, and I got paired with Sergio.
Zabalza. Nice.
Yeah. So he's my producer. And,
that's amazing.
And so he's, for you don't know, he's from Mexico too. I think he's from Monterrey. I think. And so we had our first meeting about like, okay, like what are we gonna do? You know, any ideas? And I said, you know, I have idea for this cover or for this cover. You know, there's songs that he knew, and he was like, what about something original? And I was like,
yes.
I was like, man, like I don't know, I've never tried. Yeah, like I maybe tried writing lyrics, but like just phrases here and there. And I was like, I've never done it, man. He was like, let's do it. He was like, let's get together. We got together this past Sunday.
Nice. I love that he proposed that.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know, like I was just the thought of it like scares me, you know, because I've never done it and haven't really actually tried. And he was like, yeah, you know, we'll get together. We'll try to write a song. And if we can't do it, then we'll do some of your covers. But let's try.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I think that's the right approach from a producer's side to like, try to take out from, I think there's a lot to say from, like, if you are a musician and you know, and you have been, I think from my perspective, that if you've been involved and if you have played for so many years all these songs, there's a lot of information stored in your brain that if you combine it, you can create new things. Like you already, like the best way for me to create something is first to fill yourself with a lot of things, like information. It's like how artificial intelligence works now. You put in there a lot of information and then you
feed it, and then
you feed it and then you ask it to give you things, new things. So you are a super big database of songs. So it's impossible not to have ideas for you, I think. And I think that you only needed this outside someone outside of you to take out from you like this creative start up the fire, you know,
I
like
feel like that's exactly what he did. It was so cool. Like
Yeah.
he's a cool guy to work with, and our engineer Hanggu was also there, and
nice.
like we were all kind of bouncing ideas off each other. And like Hanggu doesn't even speak Spanish, but he would like translate. He was like on the computer,
Wow.
like, you know, we were talking in Spanish, and he was like, as we were typing lyrics, we
Wow.
had a Google Doc, and he was like translating, and he was like, I like this. I
Okay.
think we could do this. And I was like,
Wow.
oh yeah, like, you know,
Wow,
like.
amazing.
And then so I feel like, yeah, like he was a cool guy to work with. Like you said, he was like, just give me words, phrases, give me something. And
Nice.
and then like as soon as he was like, just give me a word, and I said, I don't know, like calor or something. And then like everything started like, you know, like just coming out.
Wow, I
And,
love it. I think that is a good producer.
yeah.
Like someone who goes beyond what the artist wants or thinks he wants, and he takes the best out of the person that is in front of him. So good work, Sergio.
Yeah, good job, man.
Good
yeah.
job.
I'm excited. Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. It's good. There would not be like anyone better for this job because he's Mexican. So
yeah.
he knows, like, okay, of course you can try, because there's also very good producers maybe that try to make music in genres that are not precisely from their countries. And it's also interesting to try to, I don't know, for example, myself, if I try to do flamenco,
Yeah.
definitely I can learn it, but I will do something very different because my roots are Mexican, and it's interesting because I will probably make something new out of it, like a mix of flamenco with whatever I have inside.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I like that this time it's two Mexican people collaborating. What is this for? Like, it's a project?
It's a project. Yeah, it's like an assignment we have to turn in.
Okay.
Like our first project for my class, like we had to record a song, just a song, and turn it in, and we had to like obviously like write the arrangement or compose something and then record it and mix it, and, you know, turn in like a rough mix or final mix. But now we get to be like just like an artist.
Yeah.
It's like it's literally, we had to sign a contract even.
Wow.
It's like a artist producer agreement.
Oh,
and
right.
so like now like I'm like just an artist and he's a producer. So and we have a sound engineer too. Like I said, Hong is our engineer. So it's like, it's kind of cool like to. I love learning about the whole production side and stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's like, wow, like they're treating me as artists, you know, and it's
yes.
cool. Like I've always played like covers and stuff, but now I feel like the sudden motivation to like, I don't know, create, you know, and it's really cool.
It's an evolution, and I'm glad you are having this experience, and I hope it transcends. I'm very sure it will transcend in some way, because there's a lot of that can happen, and I know that I am in the Global Entertainment and Music Business Program. For those that haven't heard, or this is the first time you hear the podcast, but so I'm more in the business program. But we have to collaborate. I think this week we are going to get assigned to someone from production, from MPTI, and someone from performance.
Yeah, we have to.
So I definitely, I hope, I mean, we don't get to choose. We just fill a form with like our background, our preferences, and they get like to, they decide who we work with, and I don't even know what are we going to do, because we are acting as more like, I don't know, maybe the strategy is to release something, or I don't know what's our, like, what we will have to do. Yeah. But I hope we get to collaborate in some way.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Because I love, now that I'm all my life I've loved the music from Mexico, but now that I'm far away, I love it more.
You miss it, right?
I miss it. Like every day I play. Thankfully my Apple account is still like from Mexico, so all my music I use Apple Music. Yeah, me too. Yeah, all my music is still. They show me the playlists from Mexico.
That's
like
good.
So I just play, like, I listen more to cumbias. I have this playlist that is playing all the regional Mexican trends. So I'm listening to this stuff that is coming out and saying, wow, this is cool. Like,
yeah.
and I didn't do that in Mexico because I was in Mexico.
Yeah, like it's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember telling my girlfriend, I was like, man, I miss mariachi music. Like, I miss Mexican music. She's like, you act like you can't just go to Apple Music and listen to it. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. And when I did start, like, listening to it again, because I feel like since I've been here, I haven't, like, really been listening to music, like, for, like, leisure, you know, like, for... And it's like, wow, like, yeah, it's nice to be able to listen to it and like, it just connects you back, you know? Yes. But yeah, it would be really cool to like work with you with that project. Yeah.
And even if it doesn't, like outside of school, I'm a songwriter too. So if there's any chance to collaborate, to do something, I'm totally down to
for
just
sure.
for the fun of doing it, you know. So, and why Berkeley? Tell me more about that. How did you like? How did you know about the school? How was your process of like saying I would like to pursue a career on this, like get more professional? How was the process?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in my undergrad, I had plans to move to LA.
Okay.
Which I did. I did exactly that. I graduated in December of 2022, and then a month later, or weeks later, in January of this year, 2023, I moved to LA. And during that whole process, like I was applying to Berkeley, had researched it, and the first program that I was interested in actually was GEMB.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the first one that caught my attention because I was like, okay, well, I want to be a musician and like, I want to gig. I just really wanted to play and I wanted to like perform. Like that's always been like what I enjoyed to do. And I was like, but I don't want to just teach. Like I don't want to just perform. I want to have a job. Like I want, you know, like I want to have something else to do because realistically, like anyone can be like a mariachi musician. Like I'm not saying it's easy. It's because it's not. Mm-hmm. But like really, if anyone puts the time and work, like anyone can do it. Like it's possible. Yeah. But I feel like I wanted something else. Like I love playing and I love gigging, but I wanted to continue education and to continue studying and. I looked into Berkeley and I was really interested in the business program actually. Wow. But then like upon more research, I was like, man, but I still want to play, but I want to play and still keep up because I want to be good at my instrument and like I guess I care about like the way I sound, and I was like, man, but I'm gonna miss playing, and I don't know. Have you been playing? Like,
not that much. I can relate to that. Like I don't know. Like I also went through that process, and I am going through that process of like trying to have a balance between having a stable job or like a stable income, I would say, and doing music because well in this program there's two different kinds of people. There's people like me that we are musicians, we are producers, we are we perform in a kind of way, in different ways, and we want to know more about the business, like for maybe having a job in the industry and as a side project having a career in music, or just being more professional and maybe releasing our own projects and having more structure, like with more like business side, more professional. So and there's this other profile that they are people that study law or economy, like finance,
and they're like,
and they like were very bored at their jobs. Like this is I'm saying like literally what they said. Like really, I had this job that I was I get tired of it, and I love music, and maybe as a finance guy, maybe I would like to work in a record label in the finance department, and it would be a more interesting job for me. So
it's funny because there's this really good oud player named Milad.
Milad. Yes.
Like, he's a dentist. Like, he's a full-on dentist. And I was like, Milad, like, I was like, with all due respect, why are you here? Like, and he was like, I just, I love being a dentist, but it's a boring job. Like he was like, wow, it's like this dude had it all. Like
Yeah.
he was a dentist, and like he's here studying like the same thing I am.
Yeah.
It just goes to show like how much like you should have a balance between like like work and then like but still loving what you do, and like
Yeah.
and so it's like, I mean, I feel like I love the program I'm in now because I'm still getting to play and learn more about my playing while also learning about like the production side of things. Like if I would have been in here like, I don't know, 2 months ago, I wouldn't known any of the stuff in here. Like I didn't know what I didn't even know what phantom power was. Like I didn't know anything, and so it's like it's kind of cool like diving into like the production side and using the production side to like help you as an artist too. Like
yes, yeah. No, and what you said like about finding a balance, we should, and also I think Milad is a perfect example that today we can find a balance like in two super different things.
Yeah.
Like I think we live in a world that is more diverse every day, and that diversity is also found in like how we can, I don't know, in like the roles we play every day. I hope I can explain myself better. But what I mean is that maybe some decades ago we had to pursue like specific roads, like a specific
like paths
to something, like being an artist. Okay, like the formula was get signed by a record label, perform, like tour every day, all the time. I don't know, release 1 or 2 albums every year, and like okay, that was and there was not other way of doing that. And for the rest of the people, maybe the way was okay, study a career and have a job for the next 20 or 30 years in that profession, and that's it, and get married, have kids, and whatever. Now things are more like very different. We have more freedom to choose and not to like commit to one thing. Like if you want to be a dentist and you want to be a great oud player, performer, and you want to be like I don't know, have a tour or like have an income from that and also be a dentist, you can do it. It's totally achievable.
Two very opposite things, and you can still make it work.
And also like if you want to be a music producer and I don't know, have another thing.
You can do it's possible. For sure.
Possible. So I think now the thing is more like but designing your own life. Now we can get to decide. I don't know. It's like you go to a. Do you know these restaurants where you can build your own plates? Like you have all the ingredients you served, and then a chef is going to cook it for you, and you have like your specific, like you design that.
I've seen those.
So it's like that. You have all these ingredients in front of you, and you have to decide which ingredients to use, and then you have your own recipe of life.
It's like you have 2 different plates, but they're probably still good in their own way. Exactly. That's I like that.
Nice. So Saul, speaking more of you and your experiences, I know that mariachi music often like carries a lot of emotions. There's a lot of stories within its lyrics. Can you share with us any of the most like memorable songs or any performance like that, a specific performance that touched you personally?
So there was a point in my life where my dad had to leave us, and he was gone for like 5 years.
Okay.
And so he wasn't with us. And remember I went to a mariachi camp one time at a university, and we sang, I sang actually this song called Almohada.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you know it, right? It's this really like, it's emotionally uh, present song. It's an emotional song, you know. It says like, I dream of you, luego despierto. I wake up and the only thing next to me is my pillow.
Yeah.
And so I remember singing that song, and my mom, she always sits in the front row. At all of my performances, she's always in the front row, like recording, you know. Yeah. And so I remember singing that song, and I looked down to her, and she was crying. And then so, I mean, she always gets emotional, but like this time for some reason, like I saw that like it had an impact on her, like a deep impact. And I asked her, you know, I was like, Mom, like why did I sing that good, or like what, you know, like I mean, I was like in like high school at the time. I was like, and then she was like, no, it's because your dad dedicated this song to me. Oh. And I was like, I had no idea. Like, what are the odds that, you know, that we played that song, you know? And it was like, wow, like I had no idea. And like my dad wrote the lyrics and sent it to her, and she you know, she felt it. And fast forwards like a week after, I was on this show, Tengo Talento, Mucho Talento. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
It's like it's an American show. They film in Los Angeles. Or I had already auditioned, and I sang that song at the competition. It's like a TV, whatever. I don't know if you know like Don Cheto or like Ana Barbara.
Yeah.
Yeah, well they're like on the show. It's a cool show, but I sang that song on TV, and my dad was able to watch it, you know. And like he was far from us, he was far from everything, but he was able to watch it. And so that song like had, of course, it was just like an emotional, like what the lyrics say and everything. It was all very appropriate, and I think that song, like it's anytime I sing it, like I remember and I get emotional. Wow. Yeah, that I love that song.
Yeah. It's that's what I love about this genre, about this like part of the music, like mariachi songs. I think that the transcendence they have is because people dedicate the songs.
Yeah.
So you get a special relationship with the song, the lyrics, the music. I remember my grandmother, now that you share this story, when my grandfather passed away, we went to a restaurant after the funeral, and well, the ambience was very like between sadness and like, you know, when someone passes away, we are like very quiet and very like you don't even know what to say. And we were in a restaurant having dinner, and then a mariachi were passing by. Well, my one of my uncles saw that they were far in another restaurant, but he knew that they were come by because you know mariachis like they walk through restaurants and you ask songs. And so he came to me and he gave me like, I don't know, 500 pesos, and he told me, go with them and ask them when they come by, ask them to play this song. Okay. And I was okay. So I went with them, and do you know this song? This song is I forgot the name of the song, but it's like Como quisiera
Amor Eterno.
Amor Eterno. Yes, Amor Eterno. So when they came by, they started, and then my grandmother started like she, like between emotion, like excited and crying, like because my grandfather dedicated that song to her. And only when I knew this, I started to listen to the lyrics, like actually listening to the lyrics. And I also started to cry because I like this specific part of the song that says el más triste recuerdo de Acapulco. So like this, the most sad memory of Acapulco. And my grandfather would take us to Acapulco every summer.
Wow.
So like, when I listened to that, I thought about my grandmother being like without her partner, like life partner, and like, wow, all like that song took a whole different sense for me. And I think that is the special thing about this. That people own the songs. Like they adapt the stories to their own vibes.
Yeah, it connects well with experiences, and I think it's like the music is the culture, you know, it ties into a lot of things. Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and and for those that are songwriters, I think this is a very good example of how to maybe write songs that can be universally adapted, or like anyone that listens to your song can relate to it, because you are not being that specific, but you are being specific on some things, and so that anyone that listens to the song can imagine the story. And I heard in one workshop I had of songwriting workshop, that's exactly what the teacher told us. Like, he told us that the story was created by the person that reads the story, not by the author of the story. So he told us, like, a book is a machine that works with two brains. So when the author writes the story, is the first part. Yeah. But when the reader reads it, it's the second part.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it blew, like, it really gave me another perspective of thinking about creating things, because when you realize that you don't have control over what the person is going to, like, interpret, or like, the perfect example was, he told us, okay, I'm gonna say one sentence and I'm gonna ask you something. Like, he said, okay, he said the light was red. That was everything he said. Now he said he was standing on the red light, something like that. And then he asked one of the people in the room, what time of the day is it? Where is he or she, or who is there? He was saying, like, okay, it's a man. He is in his car. It's like the middle of the day. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Okay, and you? What about you? No, it was me. I was walking, and it was like night. So he said, like, you both created a different story
with the same scenario.
Same words. Like, I just put the words there, but these two people created a different story out of those words. Yeah. So that's what happens with almost every, like, literature, like all every expression of art expressed by words. Yeah. That's how it works.
Like, interpreted differently by different people.
So that's why music works so nice, because, like, music with lyrics, the lyrics give you a guidance on what to imagine, maybe, but it's only a guidance. You fill up the blanks. Yeah. And the music helps you to evoke the emotions. So it's like, that's why music is so powerful. Like, okay, like songs, also music without lyrics, it has another different way of, you can imagine stories also. But like, writing songs is a very, like, specific craft. Yeah. Because you're writing words and you're writing
like a story and
music. Yeah. So but that's why I love, like, songwriting. Yeah. It's an art.
It's really interesting. Like, I don't know, like, the fact that people can relate to something, you know, it's like, oh, it's awesome, you know. And it's like when you stare at a painting, like, it can be the same painting, but then this person sees this, but this person sees that. You know? It's like, it's kind of, I guess, kind of goes back to what you're saying. Yeah, it's like the same idea.
Yeah, art itself is like that. Yeah. So the author creates the work, but people is going to see probably different things, and it's beautiful. Yeah. And that is relieving for the artist, because now when you know that, you just detach from the outcome. Like, you don't care, like, about, or you stop trying to because that can happen. You want to control what the people think about your work. Yeah. But when you realize, like, it doesn't matter, then you don't give that importance to the message itself. You just know that, okay, I'm going to express myself and I'm gonna send it out to the world, and whatever happens from that, it's not in my control.
Yeah.
So it's nice just to know that. So also, anything else that you would like to share about your experience as a mariachi performer, as a music producer? One thing I wanted to ask you now, remembered, is now that you are not actually gigging, how has this impact your life? Like, do you miss it?
Yeah, I do miss it a lot. Miss the money? No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I mean, it's just a part of my life for such a long time that like it feels weird not doing it. At the same time, it does feel nice to like kind of take a break from, because it's also very physically demanding. Like, it is tiring, you know. Like, I love it, but you're standing on your feet for hours in one day, you know.
Yes.
It adds up and stuff. So I mean, I miss it a lot, but it's also nice like having a lot of more time, spare time, you know.
Your weekends are yours now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's insane, but yeah, I mean, I have time to be creative. Now that I started, you know, diving into songwriting, like, I think it's like I see more things that I can do now, you know, and so definitely miss it a lot. I find myself like with this urge to just like sing, you know, like, but it's like I don't have mariachi instruments out here. Maybe we could play together sometime, you know, just a guitar is fine, you know.
Guitar. I've been performing on the streets the last 3 weeks.
I've seen on your Instagram stories.
Maybe you can come with me one day.
That would be cool.
We'll perform some mariachi songs, like with my guitar. I have a nylon string guitar, so
that would be really cool.
Yeah. But it's nice. I think it's nice that you can have this time for you to use it for like other things. What do you do now with all this? I know school is very demanding now, but outside of music, do you have any other hobbies, passions?
I like going to the gym. I like just the fact that the beach is like a 15-minute walk from me. It's so cool. It's like, you know, sometimes I'll just go to like the port and then go to the beach, like just go for a walk, you know. It's like I've always been really like, I've always loved nature, like, you know, like going to the forest or something, like the beach, you know, like it's just when I feel like connected to nature, like it's just relax. Like, it's so relaxing for me, you know. But other than music, like I feel like, I mean, I have things that I like to do, but passion, I feel like music is like my biggest passion, you know, anything related to it. Like now that I'm starting to produce, like it's gonna be cool. Like I talked about being the artist but not being the producer. It's gonna be cool being like slightly producer but then not being the artist, you know. Still bringing the best, like you said, bringing the best out of other people. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, like learning more about the whole technology side and contributing in that way, you know, because I want to be able to help other people become the best versions of themselves too, you know, like, so yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of putting it. And like being a producer is exactly that. And I think you're going to do a very good job, because when you are a producer with a very big background on performing, you get you have a lot of like, you're very sensitive with music and with people, because also being a mariachi gets you very close to people. You know, you get to go to people's, like, their houses, you know, their families, you know, maybe they're, I don't know, it's a different than gigging on stages. It's different.
And I've done both, actually. Like, I've done I love the house gigs where they feed you, or the ofrecen like tequila or something, you know, like it's like, and then you get the clients that hire you like for every single party, and a lot of these families are big families, you know, so like one weekend this kid was birthday, and then the next weekend it's like the grandma's birthday or something, you know. So you have the clients that book you all the time, and then and I've been on like the other side where it's like your stages, you know, like it's like that's something I would love to do eventually, is like, you know, be able to perform as like an artist, because I've never done that. Like, I've been on stages like where I perform for like thousands of people, but it's not for me. It's like, you know, it's
you're
like
part of the ensemble.
Yeah, and it's like it would be cool to one day, I don't know, experience that, you know, like be able to connect with like an audience, but like them like be listening to like what I have to offer, you know, and see if they like it, or see if I'm even good at like engaging with them. I feel like that's probably a hard thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to like be a part of like a group, and then like you're still representing the group, even though you're singing by yourself and they're playing behind you, but you're still representing the group. But I feel like once you're like, it's you, it's like, man. Whoa, like I can't imagine that pressure. Like, oh, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, that will be interesting. But I think you have the tools to do it. Like, you sing, you play. You sing and play, right? You play violin?
I play the violin.
Have you like tried other instruments anytime?
I don't like to like put it out there, but I also play the trumpet. I learned in my undergrad. I don't have time to practice it as much as I would like to, but I play the trumpet. All of these instruments I learned in my undergrad. I also learned the guitarron.
Nice.
I learned that in school. A little bit of the vihuela. Not as good as some of my friends, but I can play simple chords, like, you know, something simple.
Yeah.
But violin is definitely like the strongest instrument. And yeah, I mean, I'm having to learn piano, which is not my strongest, but it's still cool to understand it. And
yeah, even more if you are going to be a producer.
Yeah,
because like VSTs and MIDI and all that things.
Yeah.
It's good to have some knowledge on keyboards.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good. All right. So getting to the end of the episode, but before we finish, I would like to ask you if there's anything you would like to share to the people that is starting on their careers, like any valuable. Maybe three things to take into account. Yeah,
I mean, like, I'm also like, you know, the start of my career. Like, I don't know what's to come, but I can control what I do. You know, you can control. There's things you can control and things you can't. Yes. You know, like, but like your effort, your attitude, like your work ethic, all of that matters. You know, like I went to like this festival. Pro Weekend Festival in Castellón this past week, and one of these guys, like, he told me, he was like, it's not always about being the best, and he was like, you know, like it matters how like genuine you are, and like the impression you make on people. That's what matters. Like, people don't, the casual audience isn't gonna listen to how perfect your performance is, or how many mistakes you make, or if you make mistakes. They're not listening to that. They're listening to your music. They listen. They go to feel something, you know. Like, they're not there to critique you. They're there to enjoy it. Like, you know, like, especially like música mexicana, they're likely have a drink in their hand. You know, they're not there to judge. You know, like, the people are there to support you. They want you to do good. You know, and I feel like you need to want that for yourself. You need to want to do good, and just, you know, try your best. You know, and like, I think as a musician, like, you have like all this creativity, and you have like all this naturally inside you. You have the theory, you have the knowledge, you've spent hours in the practice room, you know. It's like you have this, but I feel like the music side is also what holds you back. You know, that's like me, like, scared of what this person's gonna think or this musician's gonna think, you know. Like, don't let that hold you back. Like, just like, I was amazed that we were able to write a song with my team in like, you know, like in 2 hours. Wow. And it's like, wow, like I didn't even know like that was possible. And then, so it's like, having done that, it like really opened up my eyes that you can do it, you know. Like, you like you said, you have tools to just use them. Like, you just need to break open and just try it, you know. I mean, I don't know what's in store for me. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen after this year or what, but I mean, I can control what I do about it and how I go about, like, you know, pursuing a career and, I think that your attitude and your work ethic matters a lot, and hopefully, it'll take me somewhere someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree totally with you. It's amazing how our beliefs sometimes can break until we see something happening. Like you said, I didn't know it was possible to write a song in 2 hours. Now you see it happening, and now it is possible. So it's always good to question ourselves if what we know about what is possible or not is true.
Yeah.
Right? And or question, like, is there anything that we don't know that is possible?
Yeah.
We haven't even questioned ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
like, even going to Berkeley, for my undergrad, I didn't think getting into Berkeley was possible.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
Here we are.
We are like master students now.
Yeah.
Like it's and in another country. Like it's
Wow.
for both of us.
It's
like,
a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is like a big shout out to all the people that is now in these programs in Berkeley and studying abroad. Like, it's a lot, and also like a master in 1 year is very intense.
Very
very intense. So we are exactly now in the middle of the semester, or actually,
it's midterms week.
It's midterms this week, so I think by now we are all now like more realistic about what the experience is being, because it's very different. Like, maybe if you watch the episodes of the first weeks, we were more like, oh yeah, like the excitement, and and now it's more real. Like,
it's like, I mean, I'm not married, right? But it's like they say there's a honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
But and then you have to, who's gonna wash the dishes? Who's gonna blah, blah, blah.
No, and I've seen some people breaking down, like going into like emotional crisis, questioning themselves if they did the right,
made the right choice.
Yeah, of coming here, and I think everyone is doing great. I think this is definitely pushing us, like our boundaries, our comfort zone. We're definitely all doing a lot of things that are outside of our comfort zone, in all aspects, physically, mentally, emotionally, even probably spiritually. So this is like a big I don't know, like, congratulations.
I mean, I definitely think everyone that's here deserves to be here. Like, if you, for whatever reason, you think you don't, like, there's a reason that they chose you, like,
exactly.
Every single program, like, there was a selection process, so, like, someone saw something in you and you just have to see it yourself. I think that's all, really, because I mean, I've had instances too. I'm like, man, like, what am I doing here, you know? But I mean, like, people remind me, and I try my best not to think negatively, because it's one thing to be stressed, and then it's another thing to be, like, aware of what you need to do and then just do it.
Exactly.
Like it's okay to be, like, kind of aware that you have a lot to do, but stress is only gonna, like, make it worse, you know? Like, it's okay to be, like, feel a little overwhelmed, but there's something you can do about it, and that's just take a deep breath and step by step.
Exactly.
So shout out to everyone. You're doing a great job.
Yes, we all are. Congratulations, and good luck with the midterms, everyone. I think we're all gonna do. We are very professional people. That's why we're here also. Because it's not only talent what brought us here, it was hard work. So, all right. Saul, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for all the things you shared today. Personal experience, knowledge, a lot of talent, and I think you're gonna be a great performer, producer, and whatever other things you discover from yourself. I think this year is going to, what is happening here is we are discovering a lot of ourselves that we didn't know, new possibilities, new scenarios to come. So it's going to be definitely very interesting to see what happens in the next months and years in our careers. Maybe things we cannot imagine now. But thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you had a lot of people, wanting to be here with you. So, thanks for the invite, and hopefully we get to work together.
Yes.
Be really cool.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And I would like to, so people can follow you and stay in touch with you. You're probably releasing stuff in the next. What is what is coming up for you in the next months probably?
Well, I know November 7th. We have every Tuesday we have performances.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have a performance. I perform 2 songs. So maybe if people listen before then they can show up, if they're interested or whatever.
Where?
In Salai. Yeah, we'll be in there, and we started rehearsing yesterday.
Okay.
And, as far as releasing, not yet, but definitely in the near future. I wanna. That's always been a dream of mine to release something, and we've only now started writing an original. So hopefully, soon eventually it'll be released.
Yeah. How can we find you in social media?
So my Instagram is at 5auce.flores.
Okay.
And same thing for TikTok.
Okay.
And it was kind of cool that I told myself, when I go to Berkeley, I want my artist name to be Saul Eduardo.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool. No one really calls me that yet. So it's cool that you said welcome Saul Eduardo.
Oh, really? No one calls you?
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think I read your name in the form you filled, or
I think so. I think I put it that way. Yeah. But I think that's my name. That's my first and middle name. But it was cool. Someone called me Saul Eduardo. It's starting. It's real now. Yeah. So,
cool. Yeah. This is your bautismo, baptism.
Yeah,
right?
the debut.
The day you were born as an artist.
Right. Write that down. Yeah. No, thanks again, man, for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening, for subscribing to the podcast. Remember, if you like what you're listening and watching, share it with the people you know, so these stories can reach more ears and inspire people, because that's the whole point of this podcast, to inspire people out there in and outside the music industry, and give you a little bit more a view of inside view of how things work inside of the music industry, and all the variety we have here in different professions, different backgrounds, all kinds of people. As you heard, there are some people like Mila that are dentists and also are pursuing a master degree as performers in their instrument. So everything is possible now in this world.
Yeah.
If you like something, just go and get it. Pursue it, work hard for it, and you can be and become anything you want and have everything you want. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and see you.
Peace. Hasta luego.
Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey through the melodies and bits of the Music Business 101 podcast. We hope today's episode resonated with you and provided valuable insights into the music industry. A big shout out to our incredible guests for sharing their expertise and experiences with us. We couldn't do this without you, our dedicated listeners. Your support means the world to us. If you loved what you heard today, please subscribe and spread the word. Together we'll continue to explore the dynamic world of music and the stories that shape it. As we part ways for now, remember that music has the power to inspire, unite, and transform lives. Whether you're a musician, a music enthusiast, or someone seeking the magic of a great tune, keep the music alive in your heart. Stay tuned for more fantastic episodes with industry leaders and creative minds. Until next time, this is Luis Guinea signing off. Keep the music playing, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you and farewell.